All right, it is Monday, May 11th, 2026, and this is Motivated Monday. And, I guess we'll just start out. We'll get right into the opening thoughts about motivation and building business and staying consistent with what you do. It is 8:30 a.m. and I did not want to be here today. So let me ask you something. What do you do when life feels heavier than you expected, when you're exhausted, stressed, overwhelmed, and you feel like you're carrying your entire future on your back? Because maybe that's where you are right now, trying to build something bigger for yourself while feeling completely worn down in the process. I have 100% been there before. There are seasons in life where it feels like all you do is work. Long hours, late nights, early mornings, trying to survive while chasing something that nobody else can see. And the hardest part, you don't always feel motivated. Some mornings you wake up tired before the day even starts. Your mind keeps telling you to slow down, skip the work, wait until you feel better. But success is rarely built in those big, dramatic moments. It's built in the quiet moments when you decide to keep moving anyway, one foot in front of the other. That's it. Not the whole staircase, not the whole 5 year plan, just one more step a day. Because sometimes the only thing separating the person who stays stuck from the person who changes their life is the willingness to keep moving when everything else feels hard. And that's what today is about. Not perfection, not motivation, forward motion. I'm really feeling that today because, I've been run down recently. I've been feeling tired. I've been feeling beat up. And it's kind of interesting. This is week 19 of the first 26-week plan for the year. There will be a next 26-week plan for the year, for the second half of the year, moving into that to stay motivated, especially in the second half of the year when things start getting hard. We start moving into the slower part of the business. But this week, good morning, Miss Fati. Glad you're here today. So this week, what I was talking about is, it's 19 weeks in to the plan that I put together, and this is the first week where I'm specifically talking about, um, actually my story, right? Like what and how that can help others, hopefully, when it comes to staying focused on the long run, and building a business that you're looking to build. So, Fati,
Yep, I'm right here.
okay, all right. How are you today?
I am doing great. How are you?
I'm all right, a little tired. So, one of the questions from the um, today's subject matter, if you will, is what did I learn recently? And one of the things I've been thinking about is just right now, obviously building a YouTube channel. Um, you know, it's not where I want it to be. It's doing well. I'm happy with it. I'm not getting the business that I want from it, but I'm drawing parallels between that. And I mentioned it the other day. Parallels between the YouTube channel and what I did. When it came to calling and building my business, and it took um, 2.5 years to become a top producing agent. And, that went from learning the business to going all in on cold calling and building my business there. It took over a year to really have the cold call business take off, year and a half. But that was still, if you look at the front half of that was learning, from cold calling there was still learning. There was a lot to learn when it came to the business, when it came to real estate, how to have the conversations, what questions to ask, and that played into cold calling. Um, and so that's sort of I draw parallels between that and the YouTube channel. I'm about a year and a half in on YouTube, um, and it's the channel's growing, and hopefully, you don't know something's working until you see it's working, right? But you know that other people have done it before. Keep doing the work, and I'm not reinventing the wheel. So I've looked at, okay, what's going to happen in the next year to year and a half, right? It's not, tons of leads aren't coming in. I know that leads are coming in. I see the traffic, the Google traffic is growing on through the website. So I know that it's working, but until it truly, starts paying the bills, it's easy to get discouraged, and I have been a little bit discouraged about it recently. There's plenty of times that I'm not. I'm happy with the way it's going, and so ultimately, by staying consistent, what I learned is by staying consistent that your business will build, right? And um, it's hard sometimes to stay consistent when things are beating you up, when life is beating you up, when you're feeling run down, when you feel like things aren't working. So, you know, and then kind of the next question was what wins deserve recognition? I think all wins deserve recognition. It's just how much recognition do you give a win? You know, when we talk about when I talk about, my story and what I did, I celebrated getting a contact to my database. I obviously didn't throw a party every contact I threw, but I was excited about it. And at the end of the day, I look back and said, wow, I added four contacts to my database, six, eight, how many ever it was. I would take pride and joy at the end of the day, and at the end of the week, and say, how many did I add this week to my database? So ultimately, I think if you remember to celebrate your wins and celebrate them accordingly, it's healthy to do that. You know, at the same time, be realistic about what. And again, if you're celebrating accordingly and not getting too excited about the wins, and it's a good place to be. So, you know, ultimately, I think one of the biggest things I've noticed from building my business is just consistency has helped me get there, even on days when I'm tired. You know, and whether you're talking about personal or business life, I'm nursing an injury right now from Tough Mudder, and I'm still doing the work. I'm making sure I work out accordingly, but even though it's hard to, I can say, oh, I can take the day off because I've got a strained ankle. It'd be an easy excuse, but because I have a goal, it helps keep me going. It helps keep me doing the work even when I'm tired, and having a hard time. So, what is something I can help you with today?
Mm, I have a lot of events coming up. I have a lot of events coming up in May and June,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm feeling overwhelmed. And some of the things that I'm doing are going to be first, though, and it hasn't been done. So there's a lot of pressure for it to be successful. But not only that, like I feel like I don't have people to kind of like look to for guidance as to how to do this. Um, People can give you ideas and stuff like that, but at the same time, I haven't come across anyone that's been successful. So I'm creating a lot of things, and it's I'm not gonna lie, it's very stressful. It's overwhelming, and yeah, but I'm excited.
Mm-hmm. I think, yeah, obviously, I know that you've got the gallery open houses coming up, and you've got you know, feed ATL, and you got a lot working on there. And ultimately, yeah, it is scary when you don't necessarily have the people to ask how to do, what to do for it. And maybe draw some parallels in different things you've done in your life to, all right, setting up the open house. You've done open houses, right? I mean, you've done the galleries, already, but it's sort of similar, right, to throwing a party, I guess. What do you have to plan to make an event happen properly? And it's going to be scary doing something for the first time, or not. It's not the first time doing it, but it's still going to be scary when you're still when you're, like you said, you're figuring things out and you don't have the guidance necessarily that you're looking for. Um, but you're doing the work, and 99% of people have ideas and they don't follow through with them. That was one of the first things I learned. One of the first people I listened to on YouTube when it came to building my business. He was on stage speaking in front, and I think I've told you this story before, but he's like, listen, he's like, I'll tell everybody what I do. He's like, because literally 95% of people aren't even going to implement it. And it's all when it comes down to implementation and idea, ideas or implementation, you know, again, be proud of the fact that you are implementing, and that's awesome. So it's going to be scary. So how can, as far as so you say you've got a lot of events coming up. How can we come up with an idea to help make it easier for you and less scary between now and these events to make your life easier?
Um, I know that there were a couple of things that I had asked of you, so perhaps maybe just kind of doing those things. Um, I guess I don't know how you.
Okay.
I really don't even know. Besides that, I don't know how you can help me because it's not only that, it's the open house art gallery, and then there's going to be two in the month of June.
Hmm.
Finding leverage, right? So finding sponsors for those events, and then on top of that, PDTL finding sponsors for that and people to donate for that. And also because June 15th is the start of World FIFA Cup, they blocked off a lot of Woodruff Park, so I may need to find another spot or just do it the week before, but they might do a city sweep, so there's eyes on the grounds that I don't have that may impact where I'm gonna do it because I've been consistently doing it at Woodruff Park. And
Hmm.
then the pool party, that is tied into helping the community, but also doing the development stuff. So that just, I mean, there were a couple of things that we were supposed to do together that just kept on getting pushed. Um, so because that right there, because these events, yeah, it's just, I just want to throw up. And holding people accountable to what they said they're gonna do is really another stressor because
Hmm.
when you assign tasks to people and they agree with you and you're doing everything else and they end up not doing it, like especially for all three events that are happening, because it's gonna be back to back. It's like the last weekend of May, and then the first weekend of June, and then the following weekend of June, and then the following weekend of June again as well. So I just need people to do their part.
Do you think you're putting too much on your plate?
I am, but I have to. Like it's not like there's a point, and there unfortunately, like as much as people tell you the great stories of how they became successful, like no one really tells you the story. Like when you're in it and you're doing it, like it fucking sucks. But you know that it's worth it because it's gonna eventually pay off. So right now I'm in that part where it sucks because I have to do these things because I don't have anyone that's gonna do them for me.
Hmm. No, I get it. I get it. Um, I definitely understand. It's hard. Um, I guess, one of the biggest things I can say is just task lists and checklists and, having that organized and saying what's been done, what hasn't been done is incredibly helpful. That's why I know that like my, again, my CRM of who I have to call, the things I have to do. I think I need to start adding the more things to the CRM or at least a task list outside of the follow-up calls. Somehow get a better system for that. I think that will be helpful in helping complete some of these tasks because when I do have that, it just makes me get helps me get things done rather than you know saying, "Hey, can you do this?" And then again, yeah, things. I know I forget things because if it's not written down for me in a place that I check regularly, then it's hard for me to I forget, because there is so much going on. There are so many balls in the air right now. So, all right, well then, um, it does suck. Like I said, today was just week 19. The subject was just talking about uh, my stories specifically. And yeah, when I can say when I was going through it, I distinctly remember how exhausted I was. Um, 80, sometimes 90-hour work weeks. It was hard, and it didn't leave much space for much else in my life at the time. Um, and if you focus on, hey, here's your why, your goal on the other side, you know that, there is a reason you're chasing what you're chasing. So before you move on your day, I want you to think about this honestly. What future are you fighting for right now? Because when the days get hard, and they do, that vision matters. There are mornings when you feel behind, exhausted, what mornings where getting started feels impossible. And the truth is, whatever your goals are, you may never feel fully ready. But your life does not change because you felt motivated one day. It changes because you keep showing up consistently, even when life is difficult, even when progress feels slow, even when nobody notices, even when you're tired. The people who eventually build the life that they want to build were not always the most talented. A lot of times, they were simply the ones who refused to stop walking, one foot in front of the other. That's how momentum is built. That's how confidence is built. And that's how lives change. So today, don't focus on doing everything perfectly. Just take the next step. Because years from now, you'll either be thankful you kept going or wondering what would have happened if you had. This is Tony Toich signing off. Good morning and good luck. And stop recording.